He's an ISO scorer. Other guys sit around to get cold. They watch him score. He does not play defense, though he is capable of playing defense. I've seen it, but usually chooses not to do it. Let's be honest, a bad defender most of the time. But you can't build a team around him. We've already seen it. As a young pro, he was a loser. I don't mean his ability to score. I mean his team. He didn't elevate his teammates. They were no good. The Cavs were straight trash, let's be honest. That's why they picked first in the draft every year.
As I scroll through Twitter right now, I see so many posts. I see the Kobe Bryant happy birthday wishes, by the way. Shout out to the Mamba. 40 years, bless up, many more years to come. One of the greatest athletes I've ever seen play the game of basketball. Never see play sports. Happy Mamba Day. But I also see hate as much as I see love. And a lot of that hate is towards the player that we're going to talk about today. And that is Kyrie Irving. Because I just don't understand why people just completely shit on Kyrie. Look, I get it. Kyrie left your favorite player in LeBron James, but that doesn't mean you gotta trash him because he was able to get further in the regular season than LeBron. Look, we get it. He had a better team than LeBron, and he left LeBron James because he didn't want to be the second fiddle, and he led that team in Boston to a lot of wins, and they made the Eastern Conference Finals without him, and they were one game away from making the finals without him. But the problem that I see with Kyrie is that a lot of the excuses that you make for him, you can make that for a lot of other players in the NBA. But let's discuss this because there's been a wave of people on Twitter saying Kyrie Irving is overrated. And look, I made a video not too long ago where I talked about if Kyrie was overrated. And I said yes and no, because I said in that video, I did not think Kyrie was at the level of a lot of players in the league. But as the year has changed and as we've seen this season, so many players have elevated and so many players have declined. And I'm not saying declined in their talent, but they've declined on the scale of the best players in the NBA. I mean, you got a player like Russell Westbrook, who in my opinion was a top 5 player going into this past season, but after getting eliminated in the first round to the Utah Jazz and being led by a rookie in Donovan Mitchell, I can't say that no more. You also have players such as Paul George, who some people were putting among the best players in the league, but you could argue it's not even among the elite players at his position, as you have players like LeBron, obviously, KD, Giannis, Kawhi, and then you also add in Jimmy Butler, who is debatable between him and Paul George, but I would lean towards Jimmy Butler, and that's 5 small forwards. He is not even a top 5 small forward in the league right now, in my personal opinion. So when you look at the league and survey all the players around, I think Kyrie Irving definitely falls in that spectrum. I mean, not on the level of the Paul Georges and the Russell Westbrooks who went down on the totem pole, but I definitely think on the other side of the players that went up, like Anthony Davis. And I definitely think that Kyrie Irving is in that class as well. I mean, I didn't even think Kyrie Irving was among the 5 best point guards in the league up until this past season, when you had players like Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook, CP3, Damian Lillard, and John Wall, who all had outstanding seasons this past year. Kyrie Irving did as well, but we didn't know what Kyrie was without LeBron, so I just could not put him above those other point guards who had led teams to over 50 wins or at least around 50 wins and had done things in the playoffs as the leader of their own team. But now that we've seen Kyrie Irving as a leader of a team, though he did not play in the playoffs, I understand that. But if you honestly believe in your mind that Kyrie Irving would have taken away from the team's success if he played in the playoffs, then you don't know the game of basketball. So now that we've understood that, Kyrie Irving, if you put him on this team of the Boston Celtics last season going into the playoffs, they probably would have disposed of Milwaukee because they couldn't win an away game, but Kyrie Irving is the veteran of that team. When you consider all the pieces around them, aside from Al Horford, of course, he is the main veteran and leader of that team, as you have players like T. Rowe, Terry Rozier, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, even Marcus Smart if you want to throw him in there. Kyrie Irving, he has played in Golden State and won Game 7 on their home court to seal the deal in the NBA Finals. I can guarantee you he would have walked into the Milwaukee Bucks arena and still balled out, unlike a lot of those other young players who could not win an away game. So they probably would have disposed of Milwaukee in less than 7 games. they could have even swept the Philadelphia 76ers, as each and every one of those games were close. And in my opinion, the reason that a lot of those games were close was because of the fact that they did not have a go-to scorer. They didn't have someone that they could give the ball to in the final seconds or even during the game and say, just take over the game for us, bro. Like you had Kobe or LeBron does at times, or Jordan. We all know they got those killer instincts, and Kyrie Irving got that. He got that mentality that he can take over a game. So when you look at that series, there's a chance that they could have swept the Sixers. And then you have the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cleveland Cavaliers had to have been the luckiest team that I had ever witnessed in my life this year in the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, they dropped the first two games, and LeBron James had the worst game of the entire year in game one, as he shot below 40% from the field and nearly 30% from the field. And then you also have game two, where he balled out and they still lost the game by 13 points, by the way. And then they go on to win the series in 7 games, as LeBron James' heroics were on display, of course. J.R. Smith was not consistent, as he always is. And then you have Kevin Love, who was just ass. And Kevin Love, his inconsistencies were just atrocious. I'm just gonna be real. It was abysmal. I did not understand it. And then you have game 7, which they won by 8 points. And then every single Boston Celtics player decided to just throw up bricks like the Houston Rockets did in game 7 against the Golden State Warriors. Everyone aside from Jason Tatum was abysmal, and they still only won that game by 8 points. And you're telling me that Kyrie Irving is overrated because they got there without him? Well, if he was there, they definitely would have beat this Cleveland Cavaliers team. And look, I'm not saying that Kyrie Irving is the best point guard or he's the best player, but you have to admit that if he is not a top 10 player, he's at least top 15. And you're telling me that a top 15 player who is a top 5 point guard in the NBA cannot contribute to a team that is in game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals, when this is a guy who balled out against the Golden State Warriors 73-9 and hit the game-winning shot? Yeah, I don't want to hear no overrated, because people are so focused on what the Celtics did without him that no one ever talks about what they would have done with him. And they're acting as if this Boston Celtics team didn't already lose someone else. They lost Gordon Hayward. People should be slamming Gordon Hayward way more than they should be slamming Kyrie. This is a guy who, Gordon Hayward, is making a lot of money, and he did not even play last year, and look at what they did without him. If he comes back trash, people are still probably going to bash Kyrie, and I just find that funny. So please, let's calm down on the Kyrie hate. The Celtics definitely would have went to the finals with him, and everyone who knows the game of basketball knows it's true. So everyone relax. Y'all follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, add me on Snapchat, links down below. We're almost at 20,000 subscribers. Make sure you subscribe and also hit the like button. Comment down below your opinions. I'm out. Y'all have a great day. Peace.